can blood vessels really shape the future of our heart, gut, and brain health? It's not something many people think about until it's too late, but it's the center of nearly every major disease. Hi, I'm Rizwana Chowdhury, an advanced nurse practitioner here in the UK, and welcome to 3 Things About. Today, I want to share 3 powerful tips on how to protect our vascular health, which is the foundation of our most vital organs, through the lens of my dad's recent surgery and recovery. So let's get into it. Let's start with the basics. Our vascular system is like a network of motorways carrying oxygen and nutrients to every organ: the kidneys, the heart, the brain, the intestines, and even our eyes. When those blood vessels become blocked or narrowed, whether by fatty plaques or blood clots or scarring, it can lead to kidney failure, heart failure, stroke, or gut ischemia like my dad. The brain is an interesting organ. It makes up about 2% of our body mass, but yet demands 20% of our blood supply, which is a huge share for something so small. Some call it a selfish organ because it has its own dedicated circulation designed to protect blood flow to the brain above almost everything else. That's why even a brief interruption can be catastrophic. Brain cells begin to die within minutes without oxygen. In fact, during major stroke, we can lose up to 2 million neurons every single minute. And it's not just complete blocks that matter. Even a short dip in blood flow can cause confusion, memory lapses, or dizziness, which just goes to show how dependent the brain is on constant, uninterrupted blood flow. The heart is remarkable. It beats around 100,000 times a day, moving about 7,000 litres of blood through the body, more than 2.5 billion beats over a lifetime. But despite being the organ that circulates blood everywhere else, it relies on its own blood vessels, the coronary arteries. When those arteries narrow or block, part of the heart muscle is derived of oxygen, and this is what leads to a heart attack. And the symptoms aren't always what you would expect. While some people may experience crushing chest pain, others, especially women, may experience fatigue or breathlessness or pain in the jaw or arm. It's a clear example of how vulnerable the strongest pump in the body is when blood vessels fail. The gut is one of the most energy-hungry organs after a meal. Digestion can divert up to 25% of blood flow to the intestines, and this demand makes the gut especially vulnerable if the blood vessels become narrowed or blocked. When that happens, people often develop severe abdominal pain, which is a classic warning sign of intestinal ischemia. Unlike other types of pain, this often feels out of proportion to what doctors find during an examination, meaning bloated or tenderness of the abdomen could be mild or absent in the beginning, which is often why intestinal ischemia can get missed until it's an emergency. What I witnessed with my dad brought this to life. When blood flow stopped to part of his intestine, tissue started dying. And the same principle applies to the brain and the heart. Without blood supply, no organ can survive. Protecting our arteries with lifestyle safeguards every organ in the body. Vascular health underpins them all, and if our blood vessels are damaged, their whole body pays the price. And organs don't act or fail in isolation. For example, a stroke can weaken the heart failure can reduce blood flow to the kidneys, and kidney disease in turn raises blood pressure and strains the heart and brain. It's all connected through the vascular system. So what actually damages our blood vessels? So here's the truth, it's not just high cholesterol. It's the constant injury of poor diet, inactivity, smoking, high blood pressure, and stress. And these damage the endothelium, which is the delicate inner lining of our blood vessels. That damage invites inflammation, and inflammation is the single most important pathology to keep low. It makes cholesterol and toxins stick, forming plaques that can block blood flow or break into clots. And this isn't unique to any particular organ. In fact, it can happen anywhere. In my dad's case, the scar tissue triggered a blockage that reduced blood supply to the gut, essentially an ischemic event. But the inflammatory cascade that followed is the same as we see in heart attacks and strokes. When my dad was in recovery, I saw firsthand how nutrition and mobility can make or break outcomes. In ICU, he lost a lot of muscle mass, and it was only when food and movement was reintroduced did his strength return. Now, bringing it all back to vascular health, here are 3 A&P tips you can start today. Let's start with diet. Foods rich in fiber, omega-3 fats, and natural plant compounds called polyphenols can do remarkable things for our arteries. High fiber foods like beans and vegetables help lower cholesterol. Omega-3s from salmon, walnuts, or flax seeds reduce inflammation inside vessel walls. And polyphenols in foods like berries, olive oil, and green tea actually improve the function of the endothelium, keeping them flexible and resistant to plaque buildup. And hydration is just as important. Blood is about 50% water. When we are dehydrated, the blood thickens, forcing the heart to work harder and putting extra strain on the vessels. Next is exercise. Just 30 minutes of brisk walking a day is enough to increase nitric oxide levels in the blood. Nitric oxide helps blood vessels relax and stay elastic, which reduces pressure on the arteries. Building muscle strength and cardiovascular fitness also creates a kind of reserve. So if illness strikes, your body is more resilient and recovers faster. In fact, even short bouts of activity like climbing stairs or carrying shopping counts towards protecting your vascular health. And finally, sleep. If there's one thing to safeguard daily, it's this. Poor sleep doesn't just make us tired, it stiffens our arteries, raises blood pressure, and increases inflammation in the bloodstream. Studies show that even 1 week of restricted sleep can measurably damage blood vessel function. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of good quality rest may be one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools we have to protect our arteries. These aren't small changes, they are everyday actions that help protect our blood vessels. And when our vessels are healthy, so are the organs that depend on them. So here is my challenge to you. Start with one vascular-friendly change today, whether that's a brisk walk or cutting back on processed foods. I am working on these too, so you are not alone. Let me know in the comments below what change you'll be making to improve your vascular health. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.